Wales won, Montenegro 0. Unbeaten in the first 4 games. Bellamy's writing history. What is going on? What an unbelievably exciting time to be a Welsh fan. So, Bellamy made 7 changes to the second game. Well, his 4th game, but second game of this international break. And yeah, the team looked very, very different. And I think one thing that became obvious to me once the squad was announced, that one, we have a couple of injuries, Ampadu and Ramsey being, the main 2 names. But the players we had coming in, Burns, Broadhead, Brooks coming back, Joe Allen, of course. We knew that they were going to be probably used by Bellamy, seeing as though his rotations and stuff in the first 2 games, you could tell he really does want to use or maximize his squad. Anyone that deserves minutes, to get playing time. And I mean, he's done that. 7 changes from Friday night. There's been a theme of Bellamy's teams so far in the second half. We just feel, it seems like we are just sort of flagging a little bit. It does seem like we get quite fatigued with the amount of intensity his teams play with and we're playing with right now in the first half, the amount of running we're doing, the pressing we're doing. And we are getting leads, we are getting goals from it. It's working, but we have seen that there is a drop-off in the second half. But one thing I think to note tonight was, I don't think we saw that as much. Now, was that because he freshened it up so much? Maybe. But let's touch upon the first half first then. So, we go into the half 1-0 up. Towards the end of that half, we probably deserved to score a couple more. I think we had a couple of good chances. Lots of action coming from Wilson again. I mean, the guy's on fire right now. Imagine if Harry Wilson was playing club football, by the way. Absolutely frightening thought, because he's our best player by a mile really right now. Never mind, if he was playing week in, week out. But yeah, I was kind of impressed with how quickly we would win the ball back, especially in the first half. We tried to do it for the whole game, but as we know, that does become borderline impossible unless you make, a ton of changes. But just the intensity Bellamy's, setup allows us to win the ball back in. If we do lose it, our front players are pressing so hard to get that ball back within that first sort of 5-6 seconds. And then we regain possession, and then we sort of, recycle it out maybe the other way and try and work another angle. But I was really impressed with Cabango, Roden and Davis. We went with a 3 at home, which is not something that I guess you could foresee. But then on the other side of things, you go, well, okay, if you're going to play Wes Burns and Nico Williams on his favoured side, on the right, you can basically, and what kind of happened was, our whole team, bar Ben Cabango and Joe Roden, were in the opposition's half once they were in a low block, once we were trying to peg them back and try and move the ball from side to side and open angles up. Literally our whole, 8 players was so pushed on. It was really interesting to see, and it was hard for them to stick with all those players basically, because there was a lot of movement in the middle as well from Wilson drifting in. You had Cullen coming into really good pockets, which I thought was really encouraging. And yeah, Wilson and Cullen were kind of playing as 2-8s really, because Cullen's not a winger, but we didn't really play with a left winger because we had Burns. Wes Burns is a winger. He's not a left back or a left wing back. But, in this type of system, in this type of game where we're going to dominate possession, he is and was, very active on that side, which allows then Cullen to come into these half spaces and Wilson to kind of do what he wants in there. I thought Josh Sheehan was class. I thought he was really, really good. He recycled the ball well. He can play off his left and right foot really comfortably. He broke up play well at times and puts a tackle in when he needs to as well. I thought he was really good. I think, he's not going to be dominating the stats for goals and assists ever for us, but that's not what he's there for. He's there because we do have, a lack of 6s really once Ampadu's out for a little bit, and, Jordan James is probably a bit better as an 8 probably for us ideally. Of course, he can play 6, but I thought on the ball, Josh Sheehan was really, really encouraging. I thought he was class. Dye Brooks looked really dangerous as well, coming in on his left foot, a couple of megs, back to the old Dye Brooks, which we love. And Mark Harris worked his socks off. I didn't think, there was probably a chance he could have scored, wasn't there, when he, I think it was Wilson or maybe Nico, swung in a ball quite low and hard. And I think Mark sort of, it was just too far ahead of him. But I thought the first half was really good. I didn't feel once that we were under pressure. And, okay, we scored from a penalty. It wasn't from open play, but that's fine. It doesn't matter how they go in. And it was pretty encouraging. It really, really was. I was really happy with the amount of possession we had in that first half. I think it was overall 66%, but in the first half 74%. So we were so dominant in that first half. 4 big chances created, 8 shots on goal, 350 passes. We just completely, sort of knackered them out to the point where, eventually one of them ends up, giving away a foul, and we end up capitalizing on that. And it's, of course, Harry Wilson to the rescue. But yeah, first half was pretty flawless. Like, I don't think there was much faults anywhere, really. I thought we were really, really comfortable. Darlow, like, I'm not overly impressed with him. I'm not sort of saying, that I don't think he's any good, but I don't think he's done anything yet. I don't think he did anything today that I was like, wow, like, he's got amazing footwork type of thing. Like, a lot of his balls were going astray. There was a couple where you thought, okay, if that comes off, I can see what he's tried to do there and stuff like that. But I don't think he's much different to Danny Ward, if I'm being honest. I'd probably say Danny Ward has the edge on him slightly. There's not much in it, though. But from a shot-saving standpoint, I think Darlow has the edge on him. Not that he showed it today, but he did show it away in Iceland last international break. So, yeah, I guess Bellamy wanted to see him on a carpet basically this time around and give him a fair chance of showing us that he can play out from the back. There was one really nice sequence, I think it was in the 11th minute, where we basically went from, back to front, where it got bounced into Darlow. He gave it into Shea and he turned and he had all the space in the world. I think he gave out to Nico into Wilson, and we ended up having a shot from it, and obviously it didn't end up resulting in a goal, but it was, it was a good chance. And yeah, 5 or 6 passes gets us from, goal line to their opposition's box. So honestly, flawless first half. And then looking at the second half stats, you can see from a possession standpoint, they came into it a little bit more. They had to, they're 1-0 down. They've got to come out and do a little bit. They nearly matched us on shots. We had 3 corners. Okay, they only had 1. Passes were quite similar, to be honest. Although we did edge it 228 to their 169, it wasn't much in it. Like, second half felt a bit ropey. Like, not as ropey as obviously the Iceland game, when we end up conceding 2 goals. Like, we kept a clean sheet. Like, that is a massive positive. But ultimately, I still see the decline in our second half performance. I think everyone does. It wasn't as prevalent tonight as it has been. Hence the clean sheet. Like, we didn't concede. No, we did well. We weathered the storm. We did, but they still had a couple of chances. They were swinging in a few crosses, and they did cause a bit of danger. They made a couple of substitutions at half time. Jovetic came on, was trying to create things. Was there anything clear cut? Maybe not. They had a good little header once where one of their strikers got a header. Cabango, I think it was. It just went over the bar. Like, I didn't feel threatened, but I wouldn't have been surprised if we conceded, if that makes sense. Like, those sort of half chances just sometimes end up, burying us. And as far as the substitutions go, seeing Joe Allen come back and play for Wales was, a special moment. I thought he looked good. He didn't really look leggy. I know he was on for, 20, 30 minutes. You don't expect him to look leggy there, but he hasn't played much, club football. So, got to give him a chance in that sense. And he looked good. Like, he looked like vintage Joe Allen. Chopping up play, just sort of recycling the ball, keeping things moving, and pressing where he could. I thought he did really well in what he could do, So I was really, really impressed with that. Cullen came off. I think Sorba Thomas came on, and we got to see Nathan Broadhead as well. Both look quite tricky, to be fair. I think both of them probably should have had a goal or 2. Like, we should have scored more than 1 goal in this game. I think that'd probably be one of the biggest negatives, I would say. You've created 4 big chances. Probably got to be scoring at least one or 2 more of them, I think. At home to Montenegro. I mean, we've scored 2 goals away. You'd like to think we could score, or equal that at least at home. We didn't, and, Bellamy is going to take a 1-0 all day long. Like, he is unbeaten in 4 games. I don't think any Welsh manager ever has been unbeaten in 3 games, never mind 4. To come away again with 4 points, 8 from 12. I mean, that is, for us Welsh, like, that is some going. We're second in the table now to Turkey. We have to play them, I believe it's away in the next round of competition. And then we have Iceland at home. So it's still all to play for, of course. And can we expect to go and get a result at Turkey away? Maybe. I'd take a draw. I'd bite your hand off for a draw. We're still going to be without, Ampadu for that game, I guess, and Ramsey. So, look, I do get it. We did make 7 changes. Like, I do have to take that into consideration big time here when I'm saying, I would have liked it to have been, 2 or 3-0. But it's just encouraging that, like, we have a 23-man squad at this point, 26-man squad, and they can all impact the game, and that is something that Bellamy's spoken about. And for us, with the type of players we have where they don't play week in, week out for their clubs, it's definitely something that we need. We need options. They're all proven to be to be valuable. A couple of sort of negatives from my point of view is we didn't see Lewis Kumas, which was a bit weird. I'm quite confused at that, unless he is carrying something. But as far as I'm aware, like, he was on the bench. Yeah, he was on the bench, as was Connor Roberts, as was Reece Norrington-Davis. I know he's only coming back from injury now. I'm quite surprised Chris Mepham didn't get a minute. He's been playing for Sunderland. Like, he's playing championship football. He's been, warming the bench at Bournemouth for a long time. He's played the last, 4 league games on the bounce. So I was actually quite disappointed that we didn't see Chris Mepham tonight. Cabango probably did deserve to play, though, if I'm being honest, because he's playing, week in, week out in the championship as well. So it's not as if, like, it's a an obvious statement to say that Chris Mepham should be starting for us at least one of these games. But even coming off the bench for 30 minutes, I thought that was a bit strange. I don't know, but maybe Bellamy doesn't fancy him, and I kind of get it. Like, I don't think Mepham gets into our best back 4 or best back 5, really. Like, I think I would probably prefer Cabango on form. So yeah, maybe it's one of them where, Bellamy's waiting for another 4 or 5 games to see if he's still playing well for Sunderland, and then, maybe brings him in for Turkey away. Who knows, right? But yeah, not seeing Lewis Kumas was a weird one. Ollie Cooper and then Kiefer Moore came on towards the end. Overall, lads, like, unbeaten. Like, we're unbeaten in 4 games. I think it's absolutely unbelievable. He's getting the best out of our best players. Harry Wilson, Nico Williams. He's getting what he needs out of these type of players. When you don't have a Bale to rely on, you don't have a Rambo to rely on, you need your other younger players, or, younger in comparison to those lads, to step up, and that's what Bellamy's system does for our sort of more creative players. And it's just so encouraging to see us dominate possession. Like, how beautiful is it? I'm absolutely loving it. I'm enjoying the ride, and we'll see what happens in the next 2 games in a month or so time, but we'll take that as a success. Unbeaten in 4, clean sheet at home. Yeah, and we'll go into Turkey with a boatload of confidence. Lads, I hope you did enjoy that video. If you did, please do leave it a like. If you are new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. Let me know your thoughts on tonight's game, and I shall see you guys in the next video.